Albert Einstein described the environment as everything that isn't me. Right? So when we talk about creating this thing, it's all the people around me, the systems around me, the way the machines, the physical environment. All that stuff has something to do with the choices that I make day in and day out. I choose to follow the SOP. I choose to take a shortcut. I choose to go the extra step for a customer. All those things are determined by the environment around me. Think about being systematic and intentional in designing the kind of organization you want. So if we know what the right behaviors are, we know when they should occur, we know the factors that we need to build into the environment to get those, we can be deliberate and purposeful in building the culture that we want, whether it's a culture of a site or an organization or a global entity. So that's really what we rely on, the science of behavior, to understand what are the most important factors to build in to create a learning organization, to create high engagement and high motivation, and make sure people have the ability and the want to really contribute to the mission of the organization. One way we start to do that is we use a behavioral roadmap. And the roadmap is essentially designing with the end in mind so we can get alignment. So people are working on the right things in the right way. So we start, obviously, with our metrics, our lagging indicators. Here's the business case. We had a few speakers today talk about letting people know if they're winning or losing. Those are the leading indicators. Building in the notion of, are we making progress? Was it a good day, good week, good month? Are we better today than we were 3 months ago? Are we more consistent now than we used to be? Where do we need to be going forward? If we can find the leading indicators, the things that we can manage day in and day out, and we can get those to trend in the right direction, we know we're going to hit our lagging metrics. So the focus on the leading indicators is what your leaders, your managers can do day in and day out. The lagging metrics, we keep a quiet eye on those, but we manage the leading indicators. So if we know those leading indicators, we look at our frontline team members and we say, what are the most critical things they can do so those leading indicators trend in the right direction? So we're linking directly to those leading indicators. What can they do and say, in what way, and what frequency, so those leading indicators trend in the right direction? Once we know those, we know the core business critical things. Everybody else in this org chart is now support staff. Right? The job of the supervisor then is to encourage those business critical behaviors to occur from the people that work for her. So we're trying to build a cascading approach where people are managing at the right level. We're building the multiplier effect by affecting more and more people. And we're focusing on the things that have the most impact.
The one question you talked about, what do your top performers do?
Yeah.
If you take what they do and you try to distribute it to the rest of the team or try to coach the rest of the team to do those things, do you do it as a team environment or do you recommend doing it on one-on-ones?
That's a great question. I know Shane said before lunch you should never say it depends, but that's the standard consultant answer. But here's what I would say is the way everyone does those same behaviors doesn't necessarily have to be the same, right? So I may show up differently with a customer than somebody else, but it's the process of creating a plan, a pre-call plan may help with sales. My plan and yours may be different. And so the first thing I want to know is, is that behavior idiosyncratic to that person? Is it really instrumental in their success? If it is, then I want to list that as a critical behavior. But then I want to work with people individually on how would that show up for you? How does that fit with your style, your personality? If there's flexibility in that kind of job. If I'm sitting at a line and it needs to be the same, then I'm going to teach it the same. But if there's the ability for people to adjust how it looks like for them, then I want to tell people, when I work with sales folks, I need you to do a pre-call plan. I don't care if it's a Post-it note or it's a 5-page sheet, but we know that that's a best practice, right? If it's a claims processor, you need to use the tools and the resources, and you need to use them in this way. you could figure out different kinds of ways to arrange that, but do what works for you. But you got to use this. So if it's consistent among people, do it as a group. If not, I just want to make sure that people understand how to do it. They have the skills to do it, the competence, which may not be the same. And they see how that will help them. They're not just doing it because you like Ken better, so you want me to do it like Ken. Here's how this practice will actually help make your job easier and more successful.